From ancient times, humans have had the desire or need to use fermented drink and other related mind-altering substances for recreation, religious, and medical applications. It was not until the beginning of the 20th century, with the development of narcotics, where we started to see abuse and addiction problems. Today we see abuse and addiction stemming from relatively easy access to substances both legally and illegally. From a casual introduction to alcohol or drugs can easily lead to abuse that can cost the victim their family, friends, job, and even their life. The good news is there is help out there for those who are struggling with addiction. Today on God Dreamers, our guest host, David Jeter, will be chatting with Michelle Amara, who is the president of SCB TV, a video marketing company. Michelle will share a little bit about her journey dealing with substance abuse and how God and counseling helped her to break the cycle of addiction and become a successful business owner that she is today. That's what's next on God Dreamers.
Hello and welcome to another episode of God Dreamers Experience. My name is David Jeter from The Next Steps, and today we're going to be broadcasting from SCB Video TV Marketing. My special guest today is Michelle Amara. And before we get started, Michelle, let me just pause for a moment to say thank you and express our appreciation for you taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today.
No, I appreciate you guys. I'm excited to share a little bit about my story and to have the opportunity to do that. So thank you so much.
Outstanding. So without further ado, why don't we dig right in?
Okay.
Why don't you take a moment to share with our viewers about what is SCB and what do you do?
Okay, so SCB Video TV Marketing is a local full-service video production company and marketing firm. We initially started out as the local cable access television station, but over the years we kind of transitioned the business into a different business plan because we just started really taking advantage of a lot of the video marketing and things that were out there. So as we transitioned more into focusing on video production, the television side just became one part of the business that we do.
Gotcha. Now, how long have you been in business?
So when I actually bought SCB in 2014, so it had been a long time established business here in the community, and then I got, like I said, in 2014, and then since then we've grown and we've changed, and like I said, we were the local cable television station, but then all of a sudden, you know, video marketing started becoming the craze, right? And so we started producing videos that were not required to go on SCB. And whenever we did that, it just showed me there that we need to kind of switch things up a little bit. So we moved with the times, you know, we picked up some of those streaming platforms and things like that, and then just really dove into corporate video production. That is our major product and what we do the most of.
Who's your ideal client?
Ideal clients for us are definitely medical professionals. Medical professionals are definitely our sweet spot, or either any business that's got multiple locations. We do really good at going in and doing a content shoot, which is where, you know, every business needs quality content to properly promote it, right? So what we do is we go in and we can set up video interviews, photography. We can even bring in a glam squad and really help businesses create that content that they can use across multiple platforms. And then what happens, we can also manage those platforms as well.
Okay. What is your role currently here at SCB?
So I'm the president of SCB Video TV Marketing.
Oh, did you start out as the president?
I started out as the president. I did. Well, technically in 2014. But I'm going to say, I was originally, you know, the first couple of years I didn't tell people that. You know, I was just Michelle from SCB. But as we've grown, you know, we've grown tremendously over the last 5 years. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunities that God has put in my life, the people that He's put in my life to sow into me, our amazing team. You know, I've got one of the best teams around when it comes to creativity and video content. These guys know what they're doing, and we're able to put out some really good products out there. So as we've grown, you know, my title, it didn't change, but it was just Michelle Amara SCB. Now I sidestep president.
I got you. So now I have to say, just out of small observation here, now over the course of these 6 years, it's been a really fast pace. Considering how quickly you talk, does your crew always, are they hanging on like this and you pull them along?
You'll definitely have to ask them that question. I'm not going to speak for any of them, but I don't think I pull anybody along. But I think that they definitely, we do a lot of work here, you know, and whether it's producing 30-minute television shows or doing a 5 to 7 video production project for people, it definitely, it's a lot of work and we stay busy. So just trying to turn it over as quick as we can.
I understand. So let's slow down just for a moment. And let's find out a little bit about you as an individual. So if we hit the rewind button and you start to tell us of your upbringing, I've heard, now rumor on the street is that you have a very inspiring story. So if you would, please share that with our viewers today.
Okay, well I appreciate the opportunity to do that. I know, so I am a Henry County native. I actually started out in Clayton County in College Park. We moved to Henry County whenever I was in 6th grade, and it was the most traumatic thing that could have happened to me in my life, because I went from College Park to a place where I had to know the mile marker on which exit to get out. I can remember being maybe in 7th grade and stopping the car because there was a cow crossing the road.
Wow.
And that was something I had never experienced, you know, growing up right there off Riverdale Road. So it was just a big transition for us to go into. I have a brother and I have an older sister. My parents got married, I guess, younger in life. My mom had when she was pretty young. And then I grew up, my dad was from Guatemala. So it was 2 very different cultures. You know, my mom is redheaded, my daddy was from Guatemala. It was just a lot of culture differences, you know, in our family growing up, which kind of, if the positive of that is it definitely gave me an opportunity to respect both cultures, be open to other cultures, you know, just say, hey, look, everything doesn't look cookie cutter, because I feel like I'm pretty open with that kind of thing. But in that, there were a lot of things that kind of came with that marriage and with my father. He had, you know, had generations of abuse in his family, for his grandfather, his mother, and it was just a lot that kind of tore on me as a child. As I grew up, I kind of saw how much of an unhealthy environment we were in. My dad was definitely physically abusive to both my mother and all my brothers and sisters. I mean, I've literally seen my dad kick his mom in the stomach across the room.
Wow.
Pulled my sister's hair. I mean, just really done some things. And then with all that being said, what's really odd is that, like, my dad never laid a hand on me, okay? But what happened in that is it definitely, in some weird kind of way, it made me feel neglected, if that makes sense, because I'm young, I'm a child, and I see the way that this happens from him, so it made me feel like he didn't love me as much. But it just shows you the perception of a child versus what we know is right and wrong now.
Right.
You know, I'm real grateful for my mom. My mom is one of the strongest women I know. I mean, she is sweet, she is kind, she is knowledgeable. There's never been a moment in my life when I could question that my mom would not be behind me.
Wow.
Never. And you know, she left my dad whenever we were, I want to say maybe 4th or 5th grade, and that was the strongest thing that she could do was leave my dad. And when she did, I saw her work hard. I saw her strive to provide for our family. You know, my mom's side of the family is definitely a lot of hard workers. We got good work ethic, and we believe you work hard, and I definitely saw that in my mom. But as she was working and as a single mom, I really saw we were at home by ourselves a lot, right? I already had these traumas that I had experienced as a child, just different things that were going on in my life. And so I started, you know, finding a way. We moved to a new city. I didn't know anybody where I had grown up with people forever. And so it was just a lot of change. So whenever I was in my middle school years, I really started making the wrong decisions. You know, I started seeking out, you know, attention in the wrong ways. I can remember blackout drinking when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
I can remember skipping school. I can remember, you know, there were just so many times in my life where I used drugs and alcohol as an escape for the pain that I never went to, you know, that I never faced in my life or addressed in my life. I didn't know that now. I know that now at 40. And believe me, it took me a good 20 years to figure it out. But once I saw, you know, or once I knew that, you know, drugs and alcohol would give me this escape, I really started utilizing it more often than I should have.
Okay. So it sounds like some issues of substance abuse. And over a period of how long?
I used from the time I probably started drinking around 12 or 13.
Wow.
And then I will have 10 years clean in October. So that's what, 25 years. Thank you so much. Yeah, 25 years. I spent more of my life using than I have clean, but I don't believe that. I believe that it will change in my life, you know, and I'm on that right path now.
So what was the event that got you on the right path to recognize that, hey, I have a substance abuse issue, and that got you on the straight and narrow?
I mean, honestly, I felt like I knew I was an addict from my early 20s, because I saw where I would go from different groups of people, where I would be hanging out with one group of people, and we would go out and we'd party, and then all of a sudden they would dissolve, get responsible, the group would split up, and I would move on to another one, and start those same patterns and those same life skills or life examples of ways to do life. Living that lifestyle. And I went back and forth in my addiction for many years. I mean, I'm not going to say there was one moment that told me, hey, look, I have a problem. I can tell you the many times that I went to jail, the many times that I went through outpatient treatment, the many times that I went through inpatient treatment. I mean, it wasn't I'm going to go to rehab once here, I'm going to attend an AA or NA meeting here, and that's what got me clean. That's so far from the truth with me. I beat that horse and I ran myself against that wall so many times because God kept putting these amazing opportunities in my life, and I would screw them up. I mean, I can remember in my early 20s, I was working in logistics. I got my broker's license. I love what I did, but I would smoke dope in the bathroom.
Wow.
On a pipe. I would stay up all night, leave the Crystal Palace, and they would drop me off at work on Sunday to work.
Wow.
I can remember sitting in my office doing drugs, sitting there like it was nothing, working on a Sunday or after hours. And I lived this double life because I did have this good work ethic, and I do come from, my mom's side of the family is they have taught me so many amazing things in my life, but there was that struggle and that battle. That addiction had a hold of me, and it really, it changed my life and detoured me for many, many years. But I'm grateful to know that God brought me back, despite how much I messed up, God still brought me back on the path that I am today. And I'm so grateful for that. I have a daughter. She is 15 years old. She knows about my past. She knows that the drug addiction's been in my life, and those are hard conversations to have, and everything's not perfect, but at least I'm open and honest about it. I was kind of sharing that I had gone through different types of treatments. Probably right after I had my daughter, I went to a residential treatment program, and she was there with me. It was a home of 14 women. We all had our kids there. We got clean and sober. It was down in Barnesville. And when I left there, I never really told anybody my story. It was kind of like I left and I acted like, okay, I'm recovered. I'm done with it. That's all that it has to be. But what happened is me not telling anybody left a little bitty crack in that foundation for me to keep it a secret. And then next thing you know, I was using drugs again. I had become an IV drug user. Because, they say whenever you relapse and you come back, you pick up right where you left off, if not worse. And so that last time that I went out, I had started IV using drugs. It was just a dark place, a dark, dark place.
Talk to me real quickly about when did God get your attention and let you know that was enough?
Well, I think God got my attention a long time before I finally put it down, because it was right around the time that I had my daughter. I got saved. I was going to church, but I was living this double lifestyle. But I had never had like the conviction of the Holy Spirit before then in my life, and so He started tugging on my heart. And don't get me, He didn't tug on my heart one time and I say, okay, God, I'm going your way. Trust me. He stripped everything from me to where I could finally see nothing but Him. And it really took Him doing that in my life. And I would, people ask me all the time now, Michelle, hey, look, I have a sister that's an addict, or an uncle that's an addict. And I say, don't enable them. If anything, push them closer to their rock bottom so that they can hit the bottom and realize it's nothing but them and God, so they can have a different life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now, if we do like the movie, Back to the Future, given that history, how did you end up here as the owner and president
of a
company?
I mean, I'm telling you, it was totally a God thing. I'm going to say go figure, but God has always put these amazing opportunities in my life. So when I had gone through the second treatment facility, which brought both trauma therapy as well as Christianity and
Gotcha.
Christ, it brought both of those to the table. That was where I felt like I got the most treatment, and I was done at that point. I was working part-time for my pastor, and I was working with a company that did events, and my pastor was a businessman. He's another person. Him and his wife have both been staple people in my life that I wouldn't be where I am today without them. I'm gonna cry. I wouldn't be anywhere without them. And I know that he put those people in my path for a reason, you know.
Wow.
And so I was working for him. I was working part-time for another company, and the other company was who actually owned SCB. And I told my pastor, I said, they're going to get rid of SCB. They're just going to file bankruptcy on it, you know. And it was, he like pulled me in his office and he said, Michelle, if you want to do this, I've got your back. I'll help you. And I was like, what? I mean, here I am, a single mom. I've only been clean 2 years. I've only been out of rehab 2 years, okay? And I'm like, there's no way I can do the pressure of this. There's no way I can do anything like that. It took me like 2 weeks to decide, and I finally said, okay, let's do this. And he initially gave me the financial support that I needed to get it started.
Okay.
We went to charter. It switched over. I was the president, and I started working then and started working hard. And since then, I've paid him back every penny of it. A year ago, I was done paying him back for it, and I'm just so grateful that he saw that I could do something like this before I did. But it's kind of funny, like I didn't talk about like my high school, but when I look back at my life, like I was in middle school, high school, and college, I was in theater. And I was either on stage or I was behind stage as the stage manager.
Okay.
So even though I detoured all those years, God still brought me back to where I get to be on camera, off camera, make TV shows. It's just so funny the way that, you know, God is just so faithful in that way that no matter how much we veer away, he still brings us back. And that's definitely what's happened.
Absolutely. So very powerful story here that you just shared with us. Now, your background was logistics. Now we're into marketing.
Right?
Opposite ends of the spectrum.
It is opposite ends, but I can tell you now, a lot of what we do is very project driven, which is logistics. So for instance, we take our business is here in the city of McDonough, so we take a video that we have to do for McDonough on things to do, right? Well, we've got a 30-second spot. We've got to we've got to put 11 locations in that. We've got to coordinate the scheduling. We've got to reach out to everyone, make sure everybody knows what they're doing, script writing, camera. It's a lot of logistics. It is a lot of logistics. So that might have been what I thought was a detour, but I do believe, you know, that God taught me early on in my career and in my professions, you know, I learned the skill sets to be able to put...
He was preparing you for today.
Absolutely. I believe that 100%.
Okay. All right. So is it safe to say that you believe that you're living in your purpose day in and day out?
Absolutely. I can say that without any hesitation at all, just because when I look back at all the steps it took me to get here, I know this is where I'm supposed to be. I love what I do, and anyone that meets me knows that because I have a passion for this community. I get to be creative every day. We have a great team here. It's like a family, and it's like I never would have thought all those sad, lonely nights in my addiction when I did not have any hope, when I did not want to live another day, that I could have the life that I have today.
Wow.
And it is only because of God.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
For our viewers, what would you have to say to them in terms of how important it is to find and to live your purpose?
Oh, it's important. It makes work totally different. You know, when you know what you're supposed to be doing, I don't want to be cliche and say when you love what you do, it's not like going to work. I mean, I go to work every day, you know. It's not that. It's just there's a different type of reward that comes with it. And I think what we do, being so connected to our community here, we serve every day, whether we're helping out a nonprofit or we're working with our local government or a Main Street program. You know, we get to serve every day, and that's what God put in my heart. You know, and I know that, you know, that kind of purpose is what's helping me stay clean and sober today. It's what's helping me feel like, you know, I live a full life for sure.
Now, real talk.
Real talk.
We
haven't been real talking at all before.
Once you identify your purpose, how do you maintain a balance? Because when you love what you do, it's hard to turn off sometimes. So how do you maintain a balance?
And to be honest, it's been hard for me to turn off my whole life. I've always dove into my careers. I always have. I think a lot of it is separating yourself and even building a team that you trust makes a big difference, because today I can walk away from a task and know I don't have to be there. I trust these guys to do what I would do on set, and it's just, that's been a great way to help me, you know, let go and unplug and kind of not have to be involved in every little thing, you know. And then
Gotcha.
I used to go home and you know, work and and work at night, and I go home and I don't really pick it back up. There might be once or twice a week I pick up and answer emails, but it's really a lot. You have to separate yourself, because if not, it becomes unhealthy, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as we come close to the end of our interview here, for the entrepreneurs that are watching, the new business owners that are watching, you spoke on the importance of building your team. What would you say to these new business owners or entrepreneurs out there in terms of how they reach success by building a team?
To definitely, to build a good team, I think it takes a lot of making sure that everyone works well together. I think a lot of it is skill set is important, you know what I mean? But it's a lot about the character of a person and noticing their work ethic, their work habits. Are they willing to learn? Are they willing to, you know, to mold into this already established core, right? I think all those things are just as, if not more important, to whether they can check off word, video, graphic design, because a lot of people can be taught certain things. And I think really just finding that group that you can trust, that's willing to mold and willing to grow, because it's a lot different working for a small business than it is working for a big corporation.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is totally different. And I think, you know, getting the right people in place that believe in growing with you is important.
Right people in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
I would agree.
Yep.
For someone that may be watching that is now struggling and challenged with substance abuse, what words of encouragement would you have for them?
I would definitely let them know, you know, recovery is possible. You know, we do recover. There is life after addiction. That hopeless life, that darkness, I know I have experienced it in my life, but that's not who you were purposed to be. God has something different for you. And to know that as many times as you may fall back, all that matters is that you go again the next day, and that you keep striving and you keep working, because at some point in time, it's going to be that moment where you just walk away from all of it. And it takes time, you know, have the right people, be open and honest, don't run, you know, seek treatment. You know, I'm a firm believer in treatment facilities and treatment. I'm a firm believer in separate yourself from the people in that lifestyle. You have to separate, because it's as much of the lifestyle as it is the drug, you know, and you've got to separate yourself, but you don't have to live in that darkness. There is hope, and recovery is possible.
Great. Well, Michelle, thank you once again for sitting down with us today. It's been a great opportunity for us to find out a little bit more about SCB and to get to know the president of SCB, to know a little bit about you. For our viewers, thank you again for your support of another episode of God Dreamers Experience. Again, I'm your host, David Jeter. And if you have someone that you think would be an ideal guest for us, please reach out to us and let us know. We'd love to get them on the show and find out exactly what they can contribute to our communities to give people inspiration. Between now and the next time that we meet, take care and God bless.